Hey guys, today in this video we're gonna look at the summary of the biography of Leonardo da Vinci, written by Walter Isaacson. The book is published in 2017, and I'll also put focus on the valuable lessons and insights we can learn from Leonardo's character. And at the later part of the video, I'll be reviewing the book. Now, if you are new here, make sure to subscribe this channel for more educational videos. Now, without further delay, let's get into the book. So the book is a really new book. It was released on 17 October 2017. I have completed the whole book and I really loved it. Now, before going through the book, it would be beneficial if we get to know the character of Leonardo da Vinci and how he really was. So, in the name Leonardo da Vinci means from Vinci. Leonardo was an Italian, and during his lifetime, Italians used to regularize their surnames deriving from their family hometown. Leonardo da Vinci is famous for painting the Monalisa, the Last Supper, among many others. But actually, he was as much a man of science as a man of art. His paintings, inventions, imaginations all were the manifestations of living and working at what the biographer likes to say, the intersection of science and art. He pursued innovative studies of anatomy, flying machines, botany, physics, among many other subjects. He had an insatiable amount of curiosity. He wanted to know why the sky is blue, or how are clouds formed. Now, his type of curiosity was a type of obsessive and insane nature. Here's a test. All of us have looked at birds in flight, right? But have you ever stopped to look closely enough to see whether a bird moves its wings upward at the same speed as it flaps it down? Leonardo did, and he found that the answer differs on species. He was also a bit of a misfit. He was an illegitimate son, a gay, a vegetarian, left-handed, and he got easily distracted. Leonardo da Vinci was born in 1452 in Vinci. His mother was from a middle-class family, while his father was a notary and was from an upper-class family. His real father, Piero da Vinci, did not marry his real mother, Caterina. Both of his real parents married different persons, the result of which is that Leonardo remained an illegitimate son. Leonardo had very little formal education. He had a little training in commercial math, which was then known as abacus school. He was mainly self-taught. He gathered knowledge by experiences and observations. He was really very good at geometry, which he learned by observing different shapes from nature. But as he had no formal training, he was poor at algebra and equations. At the age of 14, he was in Florence and got an apprenticeship with a versatile artist and engineer named Verrocchio. There in his workshop, he started learning about light and shadows, perspective, sfumato, which means blurring the boundaries and edges among many other things. Now, sfumato is a technique which Leonardo used in almost all of his paintings. If in real life you closely observe an object's boundaries, you will see that there is no precise line or border which separates the object from the rest of the space. Now, in reality, this is actually what happens, and Leonardo, with his curious and eager to learn mind, always wanted to depict subjects in his paintings as real as possible. Now, this is one of the facts that distinguished Leonardo from other painters of his time. He didn't draw sharp boundaries of the subjects. He rather colored his subjects in such a way that the saturation of the color became fainter and fainter as it approached to its boundaries. Also, more importantly, the shadows of the subject on itself cannot be really distinguished by sharp boundaries. It is done only with the interplay of light and shadows, making the painting seem real. Leonardo said, "Your shadows and light should be blended without lines or borders, in a manner of smoke losing itself in air." There in Florence, he was also associated with pageantry and plays. He drew an aerial screw, which is often touted as the design for the first helicopter. But after examining carefully, it is found that the object cannot lift a human's weight. So probably the design was just for the theatres. Among the beautiful paintings that he produced in Florence is the painting of Ginevra de' Benchi. Ginevra de' Benchi was a woman who was married, but she had a romantic relationship with another man. The painting actually tells stories. She seems distracted and indifferent. She also seems pensive and ruminating, perhaps about her love. In reality, her life was sad. She was childless and not married to the person she loved. Leonardo depicts Ginevra as having beautiful curls of her hair, which became typical of Leonardo's paintings. He made hair seem like eddies. There is also another important fact in the painting. Right above her left shoulder is a river. It shows how the macrocosm of the earth is linked to the microcosm of humans. The painting became one of Leonardo's best paintings. Leonardo was never known to have had a relationship with women. He was rather interested in men. He liked to draw beautiful figures of men. Homosexuality was not uncommon in Florence. Leonardo, along with a few men, were accused of sodomy, probably for multiple times. Along with his optical studies, he also did anatomical studies, and these studies greatly benefited his painting abilities. He could show exactly what a real man looks like. For example, he drew Saint Jerome with his neck muscles fully correct. In 1482, he left Florence for Milan. There he wrote a job application to the ruler of the place, and in it, Leonardo described that he was an engineer, architect, designer, sculptor, and a painter. During Leonardo's time, the rulers and patrons actually encouraged polymathic people who had interest and skill in several fields, and therefore it benefited a lot to Leonardo and the civilization. Among the weapons and machines he designed was the design of a giant crossbow, which was first of its kind during that time, but sadly it never was constructed. Leonardo used to maintain notebooks where he recorded the important events that happened and drew preparatory sketches and to-do lists. It was in his notebook that he recorded things like describe the tongue of a woodpecker, observe the muscles that move in the face of a man while laughing. Leonardo loved animals, and for that reason, he remained a vegetarian for much of his life. He wrote of humans, "If you are, as you have described yourself, the king of animals, why do you help other animals only so that they may be able to give their young in order to gratify your palate?" Leonardo was also a scientist. Although he had no formal schooling of science and other studies, he taught himself by reading books, and most importantly, by observing nature. He put much emphasis on learning from experiences, although he gradually realized the equal importance of theoretical knowledge. He said, "Those who are in love with practice without theoretical knowledge are like the sailor who goes onto a ship without rudder or compass and who never can be certain whither he is going." As a result, Leonardo became one of the major Western thinkers, more than a century before Galileo, to pursue in a persistent, hands-on fashion the dialogue between experiment and theory that would lead to the scientific revolution. He also said that, as we stand on Earth and see the moon reflecting light, we will also see the reflection of light by the Earth if we stand on moon. And he was absolutely correct. One of the most famous paintings that Leonardo did is The Last Supper. In the painting, Jesus is showed in the middle, and Jesus just said, "One of you will betray me." So as soon as he says these words, the people around him are in amazement and totally shocked. In the painting, we can see that the people are worried and horrified, asking each other who had done this betrayal, while Jesus seems calm and relaxed. Leonardo returned back to Florence and did some wonderful paintings there, and then traveled with a ruthless warrior and ruler named Cesare Borgia to help him in military weapon designing and making mechanical devices. Leonardo again left Florence for Milan in 1508, and during that period, he threw himself in studying anatomy by dissecting several dead human bodies and animal bodies. He actually helped teaching medical students by describing how the muscles, bones, the heart, veins work. Many scholars say that Leonardo wasted his precious time in studying anatomy and optics, but that's not the case. If he hadn't studied anatomy, he would not have been able to show the muscles, facial expressions of people and animals so precisely and correctly. And hadn't he studied optics, he would not be able to draw the light and shadows with such beauty. His study of science developed his art, and so did his study of art developed his science. As the biographer Walter Isaacson says, Leonardo, like Steve Jobs, lived at the intersection of science and art and produced such magnificent paintings and products. He then traveled to Rome and carried with him the most famous painting, Mona Lisa. He actually began working on it in 1503 when he returned to Florence, but he had not finished it when he moved back to Milan in 1506. In fact, he carried with him and continued to work on it, and he even took it with him to France on the final leg of his life, adding tiny little strokes and light layers through 1517. The Mona Lisa is a painting of a woman named Lisa del Giocondo. So what makes Mona Lisa the Mona Lisa? What's the difference between this painting and other several paintings? Well, the painting itself is like a storyteller. The painting tends to tell different stories every time you look at it. When you look at Mona Lisa's eyes, she seems to be smiling. But when you look at her lips, she doesn't seem to smile. There's also another peculiarity in her eyes. When you look at Mona Lisa from the front, the subject seems to look at you, and if you move from side to side, the stare of the subject still seems direct. This particular effect became popular and is called now the Mona Lisa effect. In the Mona Lisa 2, we see that the river is connecting her to the earth, signifying the connection of the macrocosm of earth and the microcosm of human. The viewers of the painting were able to feel an emotional engagement with her. Mona Lisa seems to provoke a complex series of psychological reactions. She seems aware, conscious, both of herself and of us. This is what makes her seem alive of any portraits ever painted, and so it's called the most famous painting in the world. Leonardo da Vinci was always a perfectionist. He always liked to perfect everything that he painted, and therefore he used to carry with him a few paintings, including Mona Lisa, wherever he traveled. Leonardo da Vinci died in 1519 in France at the age of 67 and remained one of the first major thinkers. He greatly contributed towards the field of science as well as art. So now, what can we learn from Leonardo da Vinci? Well, we can learn several things from him, out of which I found the most important are: be curious. Leonardo was extremely curious. He wanted to know which muscles worked while laughing, while crying, and by this way he could create amazing expressions in the face of the humans. Number 2. Retain a childlike sense of wonder. We might look at the beauty of a blue sky, but we never really ask ourselves why the sky is blue, but Leonardo did, and so did Einstein. Number 3. Respect facts. We must always consider the facts carefully, and we must be fearless about changing our minds based on new information. Procrastinate. Now, this type of procrastination does not mean that you should do things lazily, but do things patiently. While painting the Last Supper, Leonardo would sometimes stare at the work for an hour and finally make just one small stroke, and then leave. Leonardo said, "Men of lofty genius sometimes accomplish the most when they work the least, for their minds are occupied with their ideas and the perfection of their conceptions, to which they afterwards give form." Number 5. Avoid silos. Leonardo pursued the study of science with as much attention and interest as the study of art, and due to this, he could do amazing paintings with the help of study of optics and anatomy. He knew that science was an art, and that art was a science. You should try to blur the distinction between science and art. So now, the review of the book. Did I like the book? Definitely yes. It can be said after reading the book that the biographer literally immersed himself in the world of paintings and the world of Leonardo da Vinci. Walter Isaacson, the biographer, who writes biographies on the lives of the people who stand at the intersection of science and art, who wrote the biographies of Benjamin Franklin, Albert Einstein, Steve Jobs, and now Leonardo da Vinci. He literally churned out the beautiful and amazingly useful things and ideas from Leonardo's life. So, what rating do I give to the book? Well, I will give it a 5 out of 5 stars. I normally don't give 5 stars to every book that I like. I only give 5 stars to those good books which can really inspire me and instill in me a sense of wonder. Well, if you want to buy this, I of course suggest that you should buy this book. You can go to the links that I have put down in the description of this video. I have put the Amazon links of India, USA, UK, Italy and France. I have also put the link of the book's audio version. Feel free to go and buy the book and enjoy yourself. So if you are new here, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more videos like this, and if you like this video, please hit the like button, and if you have any question regarding the book or the link, you can surely comment in the comment section below and I will try to help you out. That's all for today. See you next time.